Audio test one, two, three. Testing for sound, testing for quality. Good.
At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. At Apex Radiology, Service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your data.
That's my paper. Is Anthony here to say the prayer? He's not here yet. Right. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Carleen McDonough, and I will be filling in for our chairman, Dr. Stephen Lewis, who is unavailable due to illness. He has asked me to let you all know of his disappointment and regret that he's unable to join us this morning. So as we wish Dr. Lewis a speedy recovery, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the 4th Annual General Meeting of Image Plus Consultants Limited as a publicly listed company. It is wonderful to see so many familiar faces once again, and I extend a warm welcome to those shareholders who are joining us for the very first time. As has become our tradition, today's meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format. We are therefore pleased to welcome shareholders and stakeholders who are participating virtually alongside those who are with us here this morning. I would also like to extend a special welcome to the representatives of HLB Mayor Russell, our external auditors, KPMG, our registrars, M², our communications consultants, members of the media, and all our distinguished guests. We are, as always, grateful to our dedicated team members who have worked diligently behind the scenes to organize today's meeting. Their commitment and professionalism are instrumental in ensuring the success of this event. This morning, we will review the company's performance for the financial year ended February 28, 2026, receive important updates under the leadership of our Chief Executive Officer, Mrs. Keisha Anderson, and consider a number of important resolutions that will require shareholders' approval. Before we begin the formal business of the meeting, I invite Ms. Tracy Simpson, a member of our staff, who is going to lead us in prayer as we seek God's guidance and blessings over our proceedings. Tracy?
Morning, everyone. O most righteous and heavenly Father, as we come before you this morning with a heart full of gratitude, Lord, I ask that you come into our presence this morning, Lord Jesus. Thank you for the opportunity for all of us here to meet in this forum, Father God. I ask that you bless the board of directors, bless all the stakeholders, Father God, and let this meeting be one that is meaningful and productive to all, Father God. I ask in your precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Tracy. All right, so I would now like to introduce the members of the board who are present with us today. So I will just ask each director to stand if they can when I call their names. Okay, so we have Mr. Carl Townsend, our company secretary, Miss Carolyn DaCosta, independent director, Mrs. Keisha Anderson, chief executive officer and executive director, Dr. Lilith Ann Bridgewater, executive director, Mr. Radcliffe Daly, independent director, Dr. Jacqueline Leckie, independent director, and we are expecting Mr. Claude Duncan, who will be a little bit late, independent director. Joining us virtually, we have Dr. Gordon Bradshaw, non-executive director, and Dr. Marian Allison, executive director. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite our company secretary, Mr. Carl Townsend, to confirm that there's a quorum present and to read the notice convening the meeting. The notice appears on page 3 of the annual report that was circulated to shareholders and is also available on the company's website. Over to you, Carl.
Thank you, Dr. Mark. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, shareholders all. Notice is hereby given that the annual general meeting of Image Plus Consultants Limited, the company, will be held on Tuesday, July 14th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Jamaica time in a hybrid format. One, at the Terra Hotel Venetian room located at 17 Waterloo Road, Kingston, 10, Jamaica, for attendance in person. And two, via electronic means using the virtual details registering to attend the annual general meeting on the following pages. The meeting is being held under the provisions of the Companies Act of Jamaica 2004 as amended to consider and if thought fit to pass the following ordinary resolutions. Resolution 1, to receive the reports of the directors and auditors and the audited accounts for the 12 months ended February 28, 2026. Resolution 2, to ratify interim dividend payments and declare them final. Resolution 3, to reappoint directors retiring by rotation pursuant to Article 105. Resolution 4, in accordance with Article 103 of the Articles of Incorporation, Directors Radcliffe Daly and Claude Duncan, having been appointed during the year, retire and are eligible for election. Resolution 5, to appoint auditors and authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. And Resolution 6, to approve directors' remuneration. Dated this the 14th day of June, 2026, by order of the board. Yours truly, Carl Townsend, Company Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. I will now proceed to read the protocols for today's meeting. These guidelines will also be displayed on the screens for your convenience. Can we bring those up, please? Okay. All right. So as we proceed, we ask you to bear in mind the following. This meeting is being recorded and shared live. We have muted participants' microphones to reduce noise disruptions. For the question and answer section, questions will be taken physically and electronically, periodically due to this meeting being held in a hybrid form. We will take 2 questions from each shareholder to give everyone the opportunity to voice their concerns, but each shareholder may return at any time with additional questions. We will first take questions online, and then we will take questions from the room. For shareholders who may have additional questions, you may email them to shareholder@apex-radiology.com. Now we go on to how to submit a question. Click the Q&A icon located to the right of your screen. Enter your questions or comments into the text box to the lower right, and after typing your question or comment, click the send button located to the right of the text box. If during the meeting any attendee has any electronic difficulties which affects the attendee's ability to participate in the meeting, identify other attendees, or to be identified by other attendees, you may send an email to shareholder@apex-radiology.com to communicate your issue. The issue will then be reported to the chairman or the company secretary. The notice calling this annual general meeting was posted on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website on June 22nd, 2026, and a physical letter was mailed to all shareholders to inform shareholders of same. In the notice, shareholders were advised that voting by shareholders at this AGM will be facilitated electronically and in person by the raise of a hand. The resolutions to be voted on at this meeting are ordinary resolutions requiring a simple majority vote to be passed. Here are the instructions on how to vote on the platform. To move or second a motion, select the Move or Second button located under the Votes tab on the right side of your screen. Once a poll is launched, it will automatically appear on your screen for voting. Alternatively, you can select the Votes tab on the right side of your screen and choose the resolution you wish to vote on. Click Vote, select For or Against, then Confirm, and submit your vote once you are certain. Results of all votes cast by shareholders present or represented by proxy will be tallied and shared with the meeting. Okay, so we will proceed with the agenda. And I now invite Mr. Sixto Coy, partner at HLB Mayor Russell, to join us on the platform to present the independent auditor's report.
Morning, shareholders. The independent auditor's report is on page 95 of the annual report. Independent auditor's report to the members of Image Plus Consultants Limited. Report on the audit of the financial statements. Firstly, our opinion. We have audited the financial statements of Image Plus Consultants Limited, the company, which comprises a statement of financial position as at February 28, 2026, statement of profit or loss, or other comprehensive income, statement of changes in equity, statement in cash flows for the year then ended, and the notes to the financial statements, including the material accounting policy information. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company as at February 28, 2026, and of its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with international financial reporting standards and the requirement of the Jamaican Companies Act. The basis for our opinion: we conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing. Our responsibility under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statement section of our report. We are independent of the company in accordance with the International Ethics Standards Board of Accountants Code of Ethics, the IESBA Code, and we have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the IESBA Code as applicable to audits of the financial statements of public interest entities. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide the basis of our opinion. Key audit matters. Key audit matters are those matters that, in our professional judgment, were most significant in our audit of the financial statements for the current period. The matter was addressed in the context of the audit of the financial statement as a whole and informing our opinion thereon. We do not provide a separate opinion on this matter. We have determined that there are no key audit matters to communicate in our report. Other information. Management is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises the annual report, but does not include the financial statements of our of our auditor's report thereon, which is expressed to be made available to us after the date of the auditor's report. Our opinion on the financial statements does not cover other information, and we will not express any form of assurance or conclusion thereon. In connection with our audit financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information identified above when it becomes available, and in doing so, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the financial statements or our knowledge obtained in the audit or otherwise appears to be materially misstatement. When we read the annual report, if we conclude that there's a material misstatement therein, we are required to communicate the matter to those charged with governance. The responsibilities of management and those charged with governance of the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation of financial statements that give a true and fair view in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards and the Jamaican Companies Act. In preparing the financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the company's ability to continue as a going concern. Those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the company's financial reporting process. The auditor's responsibility for the audit of the financial statements. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. As part of the audit in accordance with ISAs, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism. Throughout the audit, we also identify and assess the risks of material misstatements, obtain an understanding of the internal controls relevant to the audit, evaluate the appropriateness of the accounting policies, conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern, evaluate the overall presentation structure and content of financial statements, including disclosures and whether the financial statements represent the underlying transactions and events in a manner that presents a true and fair view. We communicate with those charged with governance regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiencies in internal control we identified during the audit. From the matters communicated with those charged with governance, we determined those matters that were of most significance in the audit of the financial statements of the current period and are therefore the key audit matters. We describe the matters in our auditor's report unless law or regulation precludes public disclosure. Report on additional matters required by the Jamaican Companies Act. We have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been maintained so far as appears from the examination of those records, and the financial statements which are in agreement therewith give the information required by the Jamaican Companies Act in the manner so required. Engagement partner on the audit is myself, Sixto Coy, signed HLB May Russell, Chartered Accountants, Kingston, Jamaica, April 28, 2026. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Coy. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to learn a little bit more about the history of our company as we celebrate the awesome milestone of 30 years of existence.
30 years ago, a vision was born, a vision inspired by two determined women who believed the people of Jamaica deserved more, Dr. Carleen McDonough and Dr. Lilith Ann Bridgewater, who trained together at the University Hospital of the West Indies, imagined a new kind of private radiology practice. They began developing plans based on their shared mission, which was clear: to expand access to diagnostic radiology services that were high quality, affordable, and delivered with compassionate care. Joined by Mr. Clyde Cunningham of Meditron Limited and Dr. Gordon Bradshaw of Casdent Dental Group Limited, their vision became reality. In February 1996, Image Plus Consultants Limited was incorporated. Soon after, the company began trading as Apex X-ray and Ultrasound Services and opened its doors at the Apex Medical Center on Malines Road, guided by the leadership of their first manager, Mrs. Karen Gauntlet. Ultrasound was the first service offered. X-ray followed, then fluoroscopy and CT imaging. Success was not immediate. Referring physicians were initially loyal to the established imaging centers, and the practice required patience and perseverance to grow. The founders remained focused, building trust, one referral and one patient at a time. As confidence grew, so did the company. In 2003, a second branch was opened in Portmore Town Center, bringing imaging services to a rapidly growing community that previously had limited access to diagnostic imaging. In 2006, expansion continued to a new location at the Winchester Surgical and Medical Institute in Kingston, where the company began offering two additional modalities: nuclear medicine and multi-detector CT imaging. a major advancement in diagnostic care. Throughout this period, strong professional relationships helped shape the company's development. The practice benefited from the contributions of sessional radiologists, including Dr. Richard Bullock, Dr. Paulette Thompson, and Dr. Deanne Suarez. However, as the practice continued to grow, there was a need for more full-time radiologists on site. In 2003, Dr. Stephen Lewis joined full-time and later became a director of the company in 2015. Dr. Marian Allison joined in 2009 and became a director the following year. In 2013, IPCL, through a strategic partnership with a group of physicians led by radiologist Dr. Conrad Curlew, co-founded Winchester MRI Limited with a 30% stake in the company. This partnership expanded patient access to MRI services in Kingston. However, not every chapter of this story was without challenge. In 2014, the Portmore location was closed following a strategic decision by the board of IPCL. Yet another opportunity soon followed, and the name evolved to reflect a broader vision: Apex Radiology. In 2016, a new branch of Apex Radiology was opened at the 129 Pro complex on Old Hope Road. This location is now home to upgraded nuclear medicine services with the introduction of SPECT imaging. Recognizing growing demand on Jamaica's north coast, Apex Radiology expanded to Pineapple Place, Ocherios in 2019. Rapid growth soon required relocation to the White River North Commercial Complex, allowing the addition of MRI and mammography services using state-of-the-art equipment with extended capabilities, thus again expanding and improving on patient care. During the company's early years of growth and development, daily operations were managed directly by the founding directors, who rotated responsibilities as managing director while overseeing department managers and supervisors. They were supported by dedicated branch managers, including Mr. Gregory Gauntlet, Ms. Tina Wong, and Mrs. Kerry Davis. Subsequently, Mr. Robert Nelson served as general manager between 2015 and 2019. By late 2019, the board of directors recognized that the company's strategic ambitions and its expanding operations required a more structured management team. In January 2020, Mrs. Keisha Anderson joined Apex Radiology as Chief Executive Officer, bringing extensive leadership experience from the JMMB Group. Soon after, the world faced an unprecedented challenge: the COVID-19 pandemic. Healthcare systems everywhere were tested. Apex Radiology stood firm and demonstrated resilience. Under the guidance of Mrs. Anderson, the service model was adapted to meet the new challenges and ensure that the company continued moving forward during this time of uncertainty. Through the combined efforts of management and team members, the company expanded its ultrasound capacity, increased interventional procedures, and launched on-call services in Ocherios and later in Kingston. In 2022, a bold decision marked a new era. Image Plus Consultants Limited went public. On December 28, 2022, the company launched its initial public offering on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, successfully raising nearly $500 million to fuel expansion, innovation, and improved patient care. In January 2023, Apex Radiology began trading as a publicly listed company, perhaps the greatest milestone yet. Today, Apex Radiology is powered by a growing team of 20 radiologists, supported by skilled radiographers, customer service representatives, administrative teams, marketing professionals, biomedical specialists, and an extended board of directors. The mission continues. The vision expands. The company is now also far advanced in plans for a brand new flagship location on Lady Musgrave Road, which is expected to open in late 2026. Growth plans now include strategic acquisitions, with the first in July 2025, The Woman's Place, founded by Dr. Verna Reed, with the second being Island Radiology in May 2026. With each new opportunity to serve, the Apex Radiology team commits to the mission and the vision that guides it. Reflecting on 3 decades of service, Dr. McDonough offers simple but powerful advice: Stay focused on the mission. Dig deep for strength. Listen to trusted advisors and never give up on your dream. What began as a shared dream between two women, driven by passion, purpose, and perseverance, has become Apex Radiology, a trailblazer in diagnostic imaging in Jamaica and beyond.
I hope you enjoyed that. And as we continue, I will now invite our CEO, Mrs. Keisha Anderson, to the podium, as I know many of you are looking forward to hearing from her as she reflects on the company's performance during what was undoubtedly a challenging financial year. As always, I am confident that Mrs. Anderson will provide a thoughtful and comprehensive overview of the factors that influenced our performance, the strategic decisions that were made, and the initiatives that continue to position IPCL for sustainable long-term growth. Mrs. Anderson, the floor is all yours.
Good morning, shareholders. Everybody good? Great. I won't call her out, but just to say, as the video was ending, Dr. Bridgewater told me it brings tears to her eyes. The thought of 30 years and the journey to 30 years. As usual, I'm always troubled by this clicker, but if you give me a minute, I'm back on track. If you would facilitate, I just want to spend a few minutes, not too long, talking about the concept of legacy, right? Because as you sit here as shareholders of a 30-year-old company, it's more than just the performance of this year, because you're thinking how we're building long-term value for you and your investment. And also, we must think about how we're building a brand that makes a difference in the delivery of healthcare services in Jamaica, and I dare say the Caribbean. And so I pause to think of what legacy means, and legacy as it especially means for Apex Radiology. And I think when I watch that video, what comes to me is something that a gentleman that Claude may be familiar with from IBM is quoted as saying, Thomas Watson Jr., and he says, to be successful, you have to have your heart in your business and your business in your heart. And really, as I think about our team members who every day go about the mission that they are on, they actually carry the business of healthcare in their heart and making a difference for every single person that they come in contact with. So in our 30th year, our board of directors, or going into our 31st year, just recently conducted a strategic retreat, and I wanted to just share with you the values that we are concretizing so that for future generations, they can build on this legacy. And these are things that in the coming days and weeks and months, we will ensure that we have people understand how it is actually exhibited in our day-to-day, and the values that we aligned on our teamwork, recognizing that we have a diverse team with shared purpose, reliability, that our referring doctors and our patients must be able to trust and depend on us, discipline, that we have to be disciplined in the way that we deliver our services, so our protocols must be on point, the quality and safety of what we do, compassionate care, treating every single person that comes to us with dignity, irrespective of who they are or their background or standing, ensuring that they're comfortable and that they're well when they're within our office spaces. The whole concept of accountability. So for our entire team along every aspect of the service delivery, there must be collective ownership and respect, that we respect the unique needs of everybody that we come in contact with. So I wanted to share because I thought it was important, and it's not yet in our annual report, but these are the values that we will build on for the 30 years and more to come. And the last thing I wanted to share on that was just to reflect on the team members who actually deliver service. So you would have seen the video that it's 20 radiologists. It's a little bit more now with the acquisition of Island Radiology. But at the end of February, it was 20 radiologists and 86 team members. And I think the important takeaway here is that our team members are committed to the mission to the point which we have 51% of them who have been with the company for over 5 years. As shareholders and as patients, what that will give you is confidence that the people you're dealing with know what they are doing, and they're also part of something that they feel that it's more of a mission, that it's actually making a difference in the life of our patients. We actually have 21 of those persons who have been with us for over 10 years. You know, really, nowadays when people move so quickly from job to job, being somewhere for such a long time is actually an achievement. And I will sum up with just a quotation that's in the annual report from one of our team members who would have joined us just 2 years and 9 months ago. And I will just read for you what she says. Her name is Patricia Walters, and she says, many patients come to us feeling nervous or uncertain, and being able to reassure them and make their experience more comfortable is incredibly fulfilling. I enjoy working alongside a team that is dedicated not only to excellent service, but also to treating every patient with warmth and dignity. It is rewarding to be a part of an organization that truly cares about both its patients and its team. And these are her words, not prompted, but just what she wanted to share. So I put to you that legacy is an ongoing story. It isn't leaving something for people, it's leaving something in people. And that's a quote from Peter Stroff. All right, so throughout the year, as we get into the numbers, just to let you know that our marketing team and CSR activities are focused in particular ways for very specific outcomes. So the first slide you're looking at here shows the ways in which we try to meaningfully participate in activities and events that not only support healthcare, but also allow us to engage our team members. And so we actively participate in the Sigma Run, which, you know, in the last year would have been towards the support of Jamaicans that are still displaced and institutions by Hurricane Melissa. We'd have supported the Pink Run, which really is towards breast cancer support. And then for the first time on February 11th of this year, as a part of our 30th anniversary activities, we did a blood drive. It wasn't a grand success to the point of view of how many persons actually donated. We had, I think it was just over 20 something persons who tried to donate, but only 11 donations that were received. And we hope that as we continue in future years and partner with the blood bank, that more persons will come on board. The other thing that we do is a lot of brand building activities to raise brand awareness and to also engage our stakeholders. So stakeholders such as the medical professionals. We partner and collaborate for different conferences and seminars on our marketing team, and our radiologists and radiographers, who are the more technical members of the team, would participate actively, representing us and demonstrating our knowledge and expertise. And we also most recently have been partnering with some overseas organizations that are actually providing mammograms to Jamaicans free of cost, given the realities of affordability for some of our fellow Jamaicans who are not able to do the services on their own. Additionally, Hurricane Melissa, which struck the country in October of last year, would have had a significant impact on all Jamaicans, as we know, especially those out west. And so we decided to partner with two larger entities who have that mandate of delivering aid. And so we partnered and gave a financial donation to both Food for the Poor and the Jamaica Cancer Society for them to distribute in a way that we felt would have been very prudently and ensuring that it got to the stakeholders that required it. And I want to acknowledge our former chairman, Dr. McDonough, for really leading in this initiative and ensuring that we remember our commitment to national issues. And the last thing I wanted to point out as it relates to our activities on the ground would have been that in December, we actually won the second runner-up prize for the Stock Exchange Market Disclosure corporate disclosure and investor relations. And I think as shareholders that should be particularly important to you because it was being recognized by the stock exchange that we not only did timely disclosures, but the accuracy of our numbers, that we facilitated shareholder participation, and us being an entity listed for less than 3 years on the junior market, I think it was a quite significant achievement. Thank you. Oh, I didn't click the picture. Thank you. That's us collecting, a small team of us that went with representatives from our accounting team, our marketing team, and our administration unit. When they call the name, you should have heard, they said, Image Plus Consultants Limited. And the people are looking around, and who is that? And we got up and making noise it was 5 of us, but we were loud. And I said, well, now they know who we are, and we will be back, right? All right, so we are championing care both now and into the future, customer empathy, active corporate governance, so that you know the company in which you're invested is being run well, returns for shareholders, which I know you want to talk a little bit about. You got a taste of it again last year with dividends. You want to know when returning, and excellence in diagnostic imaging, reporting, and operating standards. So now let's get to the performance. So if I were to sum up the year in review, there were a couple of milestone activities that occurred. In Q3 of the financial year, we'd have completed the acquisition of the Woman's Place. In Q3 as well, we would have also reopened our operations at our 129 Pro location, which offers the nuclear medicine modality, and we would have put in a new SPECT gamma camera unit that affords us a lot more capabilities than we were able to do before. The location at 33 Lady Musgrave Road, which I'll talk about a little further on, made further strides towards completion, and I'll show you some real-life pictures as at yesterday, July 13th. We would have done significant negotiations with the shareholders of Island Radiology, which is a transaction that has now materialized. We'd have celebrated our 30th year and successfully navigated Hurricane Melissa, which what I would want to say about that is within 24 hours, we were able to open our Winchester Road location, which is our largest location. And within 48 hours, all of our locations were open, which I think is you need no more evidence of our business continuity plan than that. So I really want to acknowledge and thank the team members who worked really hard to ensure that we were prepared and that we were able to restart our operations. In the year, we actually saw our scan numbers increase again. If you recall last year when I was here, we would have been talking about the decline, but we saw our scan numbers increase. We increased the number of active pieces of biomedical equipment up from 19 to 22. And I should actually just tell you the pages in the annual report that MD&A is on in case you want to follow with me. 1 minute. 1 minute. Yes, it starts on page 49 and it goes up to page 56. Right, so we actually increased the number of pieces of equipment up to 22. We did 1,700 more scans, and the modalities, which we saw a significant increase in, were 3. Our ultrasounds, and if I look at it from 2024 to 2026, we went from just 20,096 ultrasounds to 22,823. Our mammograms, which mammography is a new modality for us, and we would have invested significant capital expenditure in that 2 years ago, went from 1,802 mammograms to 4,386. So we made good strides there. Of course, that figure would have included a small amount from the Woman's Place because the acquisition would have occurred in Q3. And MRI, we would have gone from 21 MRIs in 2024 to 1,951. So all in all, it was an increase of 1,700 more scans because we actually saw a fall off in one modality, or CT modality. And if we look at it compared to 2024, we would have seen that we're going from a high of 13,900 in 2024 to just under 9,000 in 2026. And this is explained because this is the modality that we would get the most referrals from the Ministry of Health program, which, as we had shared last year, there was some pullback there given financial constraints. And at the time last year, the Southeast Regional Health Authority would not have been referring cases to us. And therefore, we would have seen a decline in the number of CTs. The good part of the story, though, is that we increased our overall scan count even without those referrals from the MOH. And as I always say, the need for medical scans and what we do, imaging, doesn't disappear. So what will happen is there'll be a shift in who pays for it, whether it is something subsidized or patients have to either pay for through insurance or find on their own. Our business is scans. So when we do scans, it drives our revenue growth. So with an increase in scans, we actually saw that the revenue went up to a small extent because the CT, which is a higher revenue earning, fell, but the other scans that you earn less from actually increased. And so our revenue ended the year at 1.09 billion, which is, I would say, let us say for all intents and purposes, it's flat year over year, but it is the fourth year that we've done over 1 billion in revenue. So I believe we can safely say that we have established that that is our floor. You know, we shouldn't be below 1 billion again. And we have established that the multiple modality and multiple location strategy is good in terms of driving revenue. If we look at it by quarter, this is another view. I think a couple things will stand out. For the year, we recognize that Q2 may have been our most challenged year for revenue and Q4 our most challenged year in terms of net profit. But let's take a little look more at some of the other line items. So I spoke to the revenue already, and it's been over 1 billion, and the multiple modality strategy paying off. We see our gross profit actually improving because our direct costs, we would know that the direct costs, we have gotten much, much better at our procurement and ensuring that we are using or charging things as we use them. So, you know, in real time, how we are expending our inventory items. And so our gross profit has shown some improvement. When we look at our admin expenses, we had a 3.5% year-over-year growth in our admin expenses. That's a value of about 17.8 million. 1.6 million of that would have been one-off associated with the Woman's Place. Outside of that, we had modest increases in other line items, 3.4 million in general office supplies, 5.7 million in salaries, 4.6 million in advertising, as we would now be going directly to the patients with less referrals coming through the Ministry of Health. And we would have an increase of 5.9 million in depreciation and amortization given the procurement of the biomedical pieces of equipment in the years prior. One minute, the clicker going a little slower than me. All right, I won't go back through that because we went through the revenue already. Just to say then that our admin expense ratio at the end of the day was pretty consistent at 47.7%. Our gross profit margin, we see it is also stable at 65.5%. Now, this is the revenue after direct costs, and we note it's stable, but we would like to see how we can actually improve the gross profit margin in the years ahead. Our net profit margin, which really represents our revenue after expenses. If you think about it, if we make $100 in revenues, it's about $4.50 we have. We want to see that improve. And if you look at it and the trend over the years, you'd recognize in the last 2 years, it would have been way below where it was, say, in 2023 when you would have bought our stock. So it is our job as management and our role as directors to ensure that we return to those levels of net profit margin. Our return on average assets improved slightly from 2.7% to 3.1%, given the improvement in net income. Our return on average equity was flat, 4.5% to 4.1%. Sorry, 4.1% to 4.5%. Very, very modest. That's why I call it flat when it's so minute, right? Improvement. If we look at our 5-year revenue and net profit, I think the story it's telling is that we see the revenue increasing steadily until it plateaus out at the 1 billion. But we see our revenue not necessarily moving in tandem, as we know that when we had a large jump in our interest expense and depreciation with the purchase of the new pieces of equipment, it would have impacted our net profit figure. We do know, though, that in financial year 2026 that just ended, we are starting to see a slight recovery, despite the fact that including that figure would have been a gain on business acquisition, because we would have bought the woman's place for 69 point something million, and we would have valued the assets based on what we actually procured at just over 79 million. So there was an actual business gain. So as an investor, I think what you'll be looking at is, trying to figure out to yourself, where is this business? And there's a typical business life cycle that persons may be accustomed to, and I tried to give you a perspective on it, looking at the last 5 years to kind of see where we are and what we think as the directors and management we need to do to actually improve our bottom line results as it relates to our net profit. So we would see that the business over the last, I would say, 2 years would seem to be in a mature phase. But are we a mature business? Yes, we're 30 years old, but no, there's still more to come. And I think the story is that last year when we were here, we shared that though we have been growing organically, we believe there's an opportunity to consolidate in the market and grow inorganically in a more efficient way so that we can actually deliver better bottom line results. And so looking at the 5-year performance, it was clear that we needed 2 solutions to return to growth. We needed to ensure that the debt-funded capital expenses that would have increased our interest expense and depreciation would now generate enough incremental revenue so that our performance would look better. And we could also look at opportunities to drive the revenue growth at a faster pace than the growth in our expenses. And so what was our plan? Well, we would have done the acquisition of the woman's place. And then in this year, May, the first quarter financial year 2027, we would have completed the acquisition of Island Radiology. And the question may be from you as shareholders, why Island Radiology? So Island Radiology, we thought, was another powerhouse in what they were able to establish as it relates to their brand. They have 3 branches in Ocherius, would have been a competitor for us prior, in Mandeville, where we had no presence in central Jamaica, and in Santa Cruz, again, no presence in that part of Jamaica, which is actually in dire need. In Santa Cruz, there was one other provider who had closed down right before the hurricane, and during the hurricane suffered some damage and have not reopened. So it's a green field then, ready and open and waiting for services of diagnostic imaging. And so in looking at them, they offered all the modalities that we did. They actually would have had some market strength and dominance in central Jamaica. And in central Jamaica, they're the only providers of MRI and bone densitometry studies. So we thought that they were a very likely target and would complement our existing portfolio of business. And so we would have negotiated last year and closed that transaction in May of this year. And what is the result? Now, these results were published yesterday, so I would appreciate if our shareholders would not yet have had an opportunity to see the results. So I will share with you what the first quarter looks like, because it is encouraging and positive towards the trajectory for the company in this financial year. So in the first quarter alone, we did 17,444 scans, which would be up 29% or 3,906 scans over the first quarter of financial year 2026. Of that, Ministry of Health referrals only represented 8.9%. So it's not because there's a return to some of the referrals from the program, but just a genuine increase overall in the number of patients referred to us by both private and public physicians. This result would have included only 1 month of Island Radiology because the transaction closed on the 1st of May. The result of 351.9 million is an increase of 84.5 million in revenue, of which 45.7 million of that came from the acquisitions, meaning that 38.8 million or 14.6% of the increase actually came from the core business. Because remember, I said to you, we have to grow both, right? We have to grow the business that existed before acquisitions and the business that we acquired. And both sides of the portfolio have to be performing first to get to the improvement in our bottom line net profit margin. That both sides of the portfolio have to be performing. Sure. So it was an increase of 84.5 million in revenue, as we did 351.9 million revenue for the first quarter. So it's an increase quarter over quarter of 84.5 million. And of that 84.5 million, 45.7 million came from the assets of the acquired portfolios, both the Women's Place and Ireland Radiology. And the balance came from the assets that we had before acquisition. So showing that both sides of the portfolio are growing, and we want both sides to grow and grow efficiently so that we end up with a better net profit margin. Our gross profit was up 52.2 million. Our profit before tax ended the quarter at 32.8 million, which I'm sure is encouraging to you, because remember, the last year we did 48 million, and in this first quarter we would have done 32.8 million. That must get a clap, you know. All right, headed in the right direction, right? And the gross profit margin remained stable. For you as our shareholders, you would want to see, oops, I did the wrong thing, and sorry. As our shareholders, you'd want to see that the earnings per share went up from 0.01 cents back to 0.03 cents. If we look at our profit before tax, it would have doubled from 13.7 million to 32.8 million. And the operating profit margin would have increased from 8.8% to 11.9%, as the operating profit was up 77% to 41.8 million. So going back to the 5-year overlay that I had done on the business life cycle. So if you look at it now, this trajectory, and I put several caveats here. It's 1 month with the IR acquisition. It's 1 quarter. So we're projecting out in faith now, right? But if we look at it and we continue along the same line, then we should see our revenue increasing significantly. And we will see how we look in that whole maturity phase of the life cycle to show that we are actually going up by a quantum leap. And so what you would want to see now is whether or not in increasing the revenue, we are managing the cost so that the overall net profit and the net profit margin is actually improving. So for each dollar of revenue, we're actually generating more of net profit. So where are we going in the future? So we know, as it relates to the business, we're going to be growing more scans. We're going to ensure that we are managing our expenses and becoming more efficient. But there are actually some things that we still have yet to do. And I remember last year when we were talking about all the things that we wanted to do, some of our shareholders were challenging that if we were able to complete the 2 acquisitions and that we were able to ensure that we got more scan count from our new modalities, and we're able to make progress with our new location at 33 Lady Musgrave, and saying that if we're able to do that, they would be surprised that we're continuing to move so quickly along the list of strategic ambitions that we had. So 33 LMR, I promised you a live picture. So this is what the building looks like as at yesterday. The first picture on the left is the front view. 33 Lady Musgrave is, for those who need a landmarker, would be the construction right opposite the AC Hotel, right, on Lady Musgrave Road. And the picture on the right would be of the rear of the building. So there's underground parking, and there are different, what would I call it now? What would I call it? The fact that the front of the building has 5 stories and the back has 2. What there's a word for that in architecture that's just not coming to my mind right now. All right. So it's making good progress, but then we all know that once a building goes up, the hard part is interior. It's not true for everybody who build, right? So that's what's being done now, working on our electrical supply and working on our HVAC systems, and ensuring that the plumbing is per our layout and how we intend to operate. As a reminder, this is a joint venture partnership with Ripton Contracting, and we are going to end up, or you as our shareholders will end up owning the ground floor and the first floor. In our joint venture agreement, we have it that the other floors are not to be occupied by retail type business, but complementary businesses. So doctors' offices or businesses that don't utilize a lot of parking spaces so that our patients will always have good access. We have an ambulance bay. The building actually comes with, I believe, it's 178 parking spaces, and we are making arrangements for additional parking in that area that will accommodate. Our thought at this point is our team members, so that all the parking spaces that we are assigned on the building can be for our patients. Outside of the construction going on, we are focused on, well, no more acquisitions for now, but completing the integration of the current one to ensure that we get the benefits that are realized. What we set out to do, we actually do. We are managing our key performance targets, looking at our strategic partnerships and referral relationships. So those doctors that refer across the different modalities, and ensuring that we keep them abreast of any changes or developments in what we offer. And of course, that we attend to any questions or concerns they may have about how we deliver our service, the turnaround time for reports, the wait time for their patients, the time to appointment, because we don't want you to have to wait too long to get your appointment. I mean, if you call somewhere and they tell you can't do an ultrasound when you think you're really, really sick and you have to wait a month, then what you're going to do? Call somewhere else. So we have standards around how quickly when you call, you should actually get an appointment. And then once you do the appointment, when you should actually get your report. So managing all of those key performance indicators and expanding the partnership so that the referring doctors feel very confident in sending their patients to us. The in-house patient experience and wait time, and of course, delivering sustainable results to you, our shareholders. So if I could sum it up, I would say that our strategic focus in the coming year would be around operational efficiency and execution, and really ensuring that our patient journey delivers on the promise and continues to build the legacy that we want to be Apex Radiology, which is the operating name for your stock, Image Plus Consultants Limited. So I thank you for your attention, and I'm sure you'll have questions that we will answer.
Thank you, Madam CEO. And I know that there are some burning questions. So we will now move directly into our question and answer segment to allow as much time as possible to address your questions and hear your valuable thoughts and suggestions. This session will be moderated by our Company Secretary, Mr. Carl Townsend. I kindly ask that everyone observe the participation protocols that were outlined earlier. We will also address questions that were submitted in advance of today's meeting. Those joining us in person are asked to please identify themselves before posing their questions. Director Townsend, over to you.
Right. Thank you again, Dr. Mack. All right, ladies and gentlemen and fellow shareholders, we know the drill, right? So if you're in the room, just raise your hand. I'll acknowledge you, ask your questions. Now remember, all the easy questions go to me. All the hard questions go to these persons over to my left, okay? And of course, we have questions from persons online. So what I will do is I'll take one from the audience, and then I'll take one from the online audience. So to get us going, is there anyone in the room who has a question? No? All right. Let me take one. Oh, okay. All right. Is there a mic over that side? Is just one mic we have? With our roving mic? Oh, okay. And just remember, give us your name, please. Yeah, you know the drill. Oops.
Morning.
Good morning.
Nicola Borrelli, shareholder. A lot has happened. Clearly, I remembered last year, I think I said you needed a project manager for all the things you are coping with. I hope you had a good one or ones. Interested in the current results, because last year was based on a certain platform and so much has happened. You said the woman's place, I think I read it in your first quarter report. It's 54% of the increase. That's substantial. How do you plan to maintain that kind of increase going forward? And it included IR too, 1 month. Just for clarity.
Is this on? Oh, yes, it's on now. Thank you. Right. Thank you for that. So the increase is two things: woman's place and island radiology as well for 1 month.
Right.
How we intend to maintain it, to be honest, we have not yet even, I would think, juiced it up completely.
Okay.
So there are certain things we do in terms of how we book cases, and the fact that we have so many radiologists and technical team radiographers that we can accommodate more throughput. And so the first month would have been some amount of just understanding their operating model. You know, when you do due diligence versus when you're in it a little bit differently. And even with that, we were able to do better than our projection in our due diligence for the first month of IR. For the woman's place, we have seen it perform revenue-wise as we anticipated, with the exception of one modality, because we had a challenge with the bone densitometry unit. However, the revenue that is being generated is more than what was generated when we did the due diligence.
Okay.
And so we don't think that the full strength of what IPCL can overlay on them have yet been realized. The key will be for us to ensure that the machines are kept working and that we have uptime. A good thing why having two locations in Otrus is that we'll now have redundancy. So if something happens to a machine at one location, we can immediately refer the cases to the other, and we can determine if we do things with opening hours to maximize what we want.
Okay.
So going forward, we have to look at what role redundancy plays in different parishes. We have to look at what role our preventative maintenance schedule for the machines that we have. How else can we, improve it in keeping with first world standards? So I'm pretty confident that it will continue. And I'm not supposed to say anything about what they say, past performance doesn't dictate future performance, but Q2 is looking good so far.
Good to know. Thank you. Okay, that is what's happened already. But how do you plan, I think? I know, okay, your network with doctors and so is important, but also letting the public know, like, hey, we now have this kind of capacity as opposed to what we were able to offer before.
Yes, so actively, I think in the coming months, we will have to do a lot more awareness just of the now improved or greater strength of the brand. But most importantly, as you put it, for the public to know what it means for them. Because really, our provision of services is solving problems for people, so the people who are solving the problems for need to know. So we'll do a lot more interviews, we'll do a lot more interaction with the referring doctors so that they're aware of where you can get what modality. And I think we have a great opportunity through our existing patient base. We have several hundreds of thousands now, even with the acquisition, that if we reach out to them and keep in active contact, I think they also will be advocates for the brand. Because we do have a high level of repeat patients who come to us or who refer their family members to come to us.
Okay, thank you for now, I think.
Right.
I know you're coming back.
Thank you very much for those questions. So I have some questions from Aline Wilson online. The first one is, what is the average age of the machines that were acquired from the IR deal?
Oh, I don't know if I'd have that, Director Townsend, in my head. And really, I think to also contextualize it, the modality, the age of the machine is more important depending on the modality. But what we do that I can tell the shareholder, and perhaps we can post a response to her if she sends us an email. What I can tell the shareholders, the important thing is the actual software upgrades, because you have to ensure that the software upgrades are consistent and the preventative maintenance schedule, which we have an active schedule that we maintain all our machines on a quarterly basis. And the higher generating revenue machines are actually our newer machines for the most part.
Right. And I think I recall that they have some new machines as well that they just purchased.
Yes,
so
they
we have
do.
those
Yes,
as well.
yes.
Right. All right. Another question from her. What is the total finance cost per quarter associated with financing the IR acquisition?
I'm looking at my chief accountant so she can, I have a number in my head, but I don't want to say the incorrect thing. So she can just quickly check it for us. If you will, let us come back to that question.
Sure, no problem. Any questions from the physical audience? Because Aline does have a few more. Yes, sure. You can come to the microphone. Yeah, you can come to the microphone. So use a mic so we can all hear you. Okay.
Elaboration. I don't know. Yeah, the woman's place. I just want to know more about it. I hear the name woman's place. I'm fuzzy about it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
All right. The woman's place was entity over 20 years old, shareholder that focused on mammograms and ultrasounds. So it's almost a place where women could go and feel comfortable. Yes, men need to have mammograms as well. However, it was like a safe space. So what you'd find is that the location and the owner at the time, Dr. Werner Reed, had built up a great trusting relationship with women who would come every year for their mammograms with the confidence that she would have their records and they would feel comfortable because she would spend time explaining the details of what the mammograms would show. So it's just another diagnostic imaging entity that we acquired that had a focus on mammograms and ultrasounds and bone densitometry. And when we acquired it, it actually helped us to raise awareness of the fact that Apex Radiology now offers mammograms. No, Woman's Place is on Stanton Terrace now. That operation will be moved to our 33 Lady Musgrave location when we move. Thank you for the question.
All right, thank you. All right, another question from Aline online. 3 loans are set to mature in August 2026. Is the company still on track to close those loans?
Yes, we are. I think one actually is on track to close this month. Yes.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, Aline, shareholder. Aline.
One more from her.
Oh, it's a him.
Or is it him? Oh,
Yes,
I'm
he's
sorry.
a
My apologies.
I believe he's a doctor too, so he's a shareholder who has a vested interest in healthcare.
Okay, all right. We are far cry away from previous recorded profits. Is there a timeline in mind when we will return to those glory days?
Well, if you listen to the meet, if you were a fly on the wall in our board meetings, the response would be, it needs to happen now. But what I would say is if you look at our first quarter results, as I shared earlier, we delivered 32.8 million in profit. Our second quarter is on good track as well. And so we would have delivered about 75% of our last year's profits in this first quarter for the new financial year only. And the improvements are because we see an increase in revenue. And remember now, because we have an existing support structure, so we have an existing marketing team that we wouldn't have to have a brand new one, even if we have to augment by a resource. We have an existing HR function, an existing accounting function. You're adding revenue without a one-to-one increase in our admin expense cost. So it's up to us now to figure out what other efficiencies are there to pull out to improve the overall net profit margin. But we are definitely focused on the top line, which is the revenue growth, as well as managing our expenses.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Luke Douglas from the Gleaner. So I just wanted to get a little bit more about 33 Lady Musgrave. So you said the upper floors will be occupied by others.
Others, yes.
Will it be tenanted or will they be sold?
All right, so the joint venture partner structure was that we actually contributed the land towards the overall project, and the joint venture partner built out the actual building per our specifications. So the remaining floors actually belong to the joint venture partner. So that's why what we could do is specify limitations on what we wanted to, who we wanted to occupy the building with us, but the floors do not belong to us. So it will not be a revenue source for us. Moving to 33 LMR from where the majority of our largest branch operations are at 3A Winchester would mean that there are savings in the long term for rental costs, etc., because we'd now be at our own location. Though you'd have some depreciation costs or right of use of asset in the short term.
Thank you. May I ask one more, please?
Sure.
So you mentioned that there may not be any further acquisitions at this time.
Completely out of my own mouth. The director's probably wondering where I get that from, that's just out of my mouth. Right?
Because I noticed there are parts of the island in which Image Plus is not active at this time. So the Western Jamaica, places like Portmore, Spanish Town, and so on. Even though you had left Portmore before, but it may be time to return.
So put it this way, we're going to ensure that we get the value from what we have done so far. However, a wise business person never says no or full stop. You have to, it would have to be a compelling position that makes sense, not only for the footprint of the company, but importantly for the returns for our shareholders. So we'll never say no. However, it has to make sense. So it depends on if whatever opportunities come up.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, let me take one from the virtual audience before, and it's from Michael Mullins. How will you improve the working capital situation of the business in the short term? How will you improve the working capital situation of the business in the short term?
Okay, I was just trying to contextualize the question. You need working capital. We're generating profits now that will actually redound to our benefit. We would need to go for further working capital if we have any large foreseen expenses or acquisitions coming up. If we look at our leverage ratio, we are actually looking pretty reasonable. I'm not seeing where I'm a little puzzled. I'm not seeing a direct need immediately. So I don't know if anybody else or the committee chair would like to say something. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
All right. So in terms of working capital management, as what the CEO shared, and as a company, we have shifted our revenue base from MOH to more private. So in terms of receivables or what we call working capital management, our focus is to ensure that the customers, either the insurance companies or MOH, pays us on time. So what we have strategically done is to have more closer relationship with the MOH partners to ensure that the amounts are paid on time, whilst improving our inventory management, which is another source of working capital management. And as what the CEO shared, with more and more of our revenue coming from private in terms of insurance companies, we are able to have better credit terms and they paying us quicker.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for that.
Director Townsend, the question earlier about the cost of the loan?
Yes.
All right, so it's going to be about 27 million per quarter, and we structured our loan and structured our borrowings to ensure that the business that we acquired could pay for itself. So it's not taking anything from the pre-existing portfolio. It pay for itself and still return a profit.
All right, thank you.
Good morning.
Sorry, can you just say your name first?
Yeah, good morning. I am Natasha Goegan. And I've observed that the company pay dividends at irregular intervals. Does the board intend to establish a more predictable dividend policy, such as annual or semi-annual payments, so shareholders can better plan their investment income?
Okay, so we do have a dividend policy. We would have seen in the financial year 2025 that we did not pay any dividends, as at the time we were challenged with our receivables collection and our cash flow. And we were also cognizant of the fact that we were building out for future sustainable profits and dividends. At this point in time, I think we need a little time to sit with the actual results and performance of Island Radiology, ensuring that our cash flow, which we have already predetermined, but just to see the reality of it, meets the expectations, and that there are no pulls for us for large expenses. Remember, we do have 33 LMR that we would have to be planning for, but I believe that the entire board is committed to recognizing our dividend policy and start to give something back to our shareholders who would have waited patiently with us throughout the last 2 years. So we do have a dividend policy, and we're committed to returning to paying out per that dividend policy.
So will it be a quarterly, twice a year?
Frequency.
Oh, okay. No, I think our dividend policy speaks to a 6 month, but it really would depend on our performance. I couldn't concretize and say within 6 months, but the policy speaks to a 6 month payout every 6 months.
Next thing, how much of the company's new business come from advertising versus referrals from doctors, healthcare providers? How much percentage?
Yeah, at this point in time, that's something that we want to be doing a little bit better, because we don't track to say exact source of referral at this point in time. So I wouldn't be able to answer that with in a definitive manner. You wanted to say something, Director? Oh, I thought you wanted to say something. Yeah. Yeah, so that's something that we're going to be tracking going forward, but we're not tracking that now.
Okay.
But I think it would be fair to say, though, Keisha, that possibly the vast majority of our referrals do come from the referring physicians. But it's very difficult to say of our advertising spend, how much of that drives patients to the business. I think right now, a lot of what we get is from referring physicians. But of course, advertising does help to reinforce the brand and so on and so forth.
I notice I'm not seeing you on social media. I scroll through Instagram, TikTok.
You're not seeing me, or you're not seeing the company?
I'm not seeing the company advertising there. I'm not seeing you advertising there.
Yeah. Yeah, just to
maybe I need to do some more.
Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. So we are actually on social media, but I think there's a recognition that we need to leverage our digital assets more strategically. So, if you look at the breakdown currently, a lot of our outreach initiatives have been around building brand equity. Now, that's very important, because it means Apex Radiology right now is top of mind when people think. But what has been changing, if you think about it, you have different generations buying services. So you have the people who rely on brand awareness, and then you have people like my daughter who don't even want to talk to anybody if you're not in a digital space. And and it's not even so much about advertising on social media as well, is search engine optimization. When she types in X-ray and search, does the right content appear in front of her at the right time? So, so while we are on social media, we recognize that there's a lot more we can do and plan to do to make sure that we appear everywhere and appear everywhere strategically. It's not about just spending money, doing ads. It's really spending money, being in the right place at the right time with the right offering, and giving people access so they don't have to jump channels. So if you go on our website and you decide to talk to somebody, you don't need to look at your phone. You don't need to take the number off the site, put it into your phone. That's what we mean about switching channels. You can click the button and connect. So there's a lot of discussion going on as to how we chart the next chapter, knowing that the audience out there is now multi-generational. So, you know, that's kind of where we are. But, you know, I think the solid foundation with the network across the island and, you know, a management team that's tremendously dedicated, the future augurs well. It's for us to lose, so to speak. And we're not losing. No. And we don't plan to lose. So. Yeah. All right. My apologies. All right.
All right. Thank you for that, Claude. Yes, go ahead.
Pleasant good morning, Lancel Bloomfield, shareholder. 3 quick questions. Page 98, note 6. In 2026, your contract asset stands at 554,322,193. Please give us some clarification on what this contract asset is.
I can take it. You sure? I can take it. Yeah. So that contract asset really is our share of the joint venture for 33 LMR. That's all it is. So the auditors has reclassified it to contract assets. So that's all it is.
Okay, understand. Page 98, note 10. Mr. Chairman, your receivables in 2025 was 369,756,760. And in 2026, this has been reduced to 150,685,617. This being a substantial amount, being outstanding, are there challenges in your collection?
Okay, so in 2025, we would have shared that we had a substantial amount due to us from the Ministry of Health. If you recall, we had gotten into challenges around cash flow and we had sold some of the receivables as a result. In 2026, that number has been significantly paid down. There is a portion that is aged that we are, the Ministry of Health is slowly paying down. We've been through a process of reconciliation with them and they continue to pay down with payments coming even up to last week. The balance of it is that you're always going to have some amount of receivables outstanding from the insurance companies, anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, as the only other large major payer. But we have brought down the receivables to improve the position. We're actively managing through our audit committee and board the aging of the receivables, and we are ensuring that any receivables that are past 90 days, we have commitments for those to be paid.
Understood. Last question. Page 99, note 20. In your 2025, in 2025, your foreign exchange loss was 186,784. And in 2026, this line item has grown to 477,493. Please give us some indication as to what has caused this loss in foreign exchange.
So
that's not quite note 20 though. It's just the FX loss.
Yeah, it is right below note 20.
Below note 20.
Yeah. So it would be based on the balances that we had and the exchange rate differential at the time, but it's not a significant material amount. We do see the amount increasing from to just under 500,000, but it really just is based on the balances and the exchange rate movements.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, let me take a question from online, again from Aline Wilson. What is the projected earnings from the IR acquisition alone, and what will be done to incorporate them into the IPCL culture?
Okay, so we are actively, let me answer the second question first. So we're actively working on incorporating into the culture. You know, when you, just as I onboard a new team member, they have to be exposed to what the expectations are and the standards and the norms. And we're taking the approach that they were a part of a successful business. So what we're going to do is build on continuous process improvement, because if it wasn't successful, we wouldn't have thought to buy them. So the team members are being onboarded. We actually have a series of meetings with them, and we're intending to have some kind of full integration activity with the entire team by the end of Q3 to ensure that they understand what it means when we say service delivery. They understand the values that I would have spoken to earlier in my presentation. So activities are ongoing, and we hope to be able to report in another quarterly release where we are with those. As it relates to the revenues or the profits to be gained?
Projected.
The projected. I'm not quite sure I can go into the details of that, but what I would say is that the profits would be attractive even after the loan cost of the 27 million per quarter that I shared, and would add positively to us improving our overall net profit margin. And I think that's what I'd be comfortable, you know, saying at this point in time.
Thank you.
And we commit to always disclosing, I think is our commitment, disclosing the performance of both sides of the portfolio, you know, the assets acquired, so that people can know that the assets acquired are making a difference for our shareholders.
All right, thank you. Now, let me take another question from online. It's from Kim Tat Tay. Good day. Is there a plan to expand the business beyond just diagnostics? Are you exploring therapeutic services, interventional radiology, endovascular procedures such as cardiac, neurology, major vessels, etc., and laboratory services?
Okay, so I'm going to allow Dr. Bridgewater to say something about interventional, because we do now, and we plan to expand further at 33 LMR.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for that question. Yes, we will. Well, we're an imaging company, radiological imaging. We don't plan to go beyond that scope, but within radiological imaging, we have interventional radiology, which we have already introduced. And one of the major things in our new, but it's limited by the fact that we don't have an dedicated interventional suite. So one of the big things in going to the new building at 33 LMR is that we will be putting in an up-to-date state-of-the-art interventional suite. So our interventionists, which we already have on staff, Dr. Kurt Gabriel, Dr. Jevon Leslie, will be able to do a lot more cases. And we look forward to opening that area of radiology up to our Jamaican people right here at home. Yes, and we will be offering it to the cardiac and anybody else, the orthopedic surgeons, the cardiologists, interventional cardiologists. We've already started reaching out to them, and anybody else outside of Apex who is properly trained and accredited to come and use the suite, right? Yes, we don't have any plan to go into, and of course with interventional, you will be treating. So in that way, radiology can treat people. We can drain abscesses, we can do all the things that you just mentioned in your question, as well as other things. The whole scope, right, will be opened up to us. But in terms of other things outside of radio, in terms of treating, as in radiotherapy, that is not our scope. We won't be going into radiotherapy and treating with radiation.
And then Dr. McDonough would add something.
While we don't do radiotherapy, which is a completely different field, we do treatment of thyroid cancers using radioactive isotopes through our nuclear medicine department. And that is something that we have been doing for many, many years. So what that involves is when a patient is suspected or diagnosed with thyroid cancer, we can do scans to look at the organ, and we can also post-surgery treat the patient to ablate any remaining cancer cells with radioactive iodine. And we also, after that, we can scan the patient with radioactive iodine to pick up any further spread of the cancer. So that's part of the therapeutics that we are involved in.
Thank you very, very much for that answer.
Dr. Townsend, I hope our shareholders see why we started with the two powerhouses. That's also telling us where we're going in the future.
Absolutely. All right, go ahead.
Couple questions, or maybe a little more. Following on from another shareholder's question, re-dividend policy. You seem to have been a little shy about expanding on it. Granted, none was paid for 2025. You're doing a lot of changes, a lot of acquisitions, build out, so and so. You said your plan is, or your policy is 6 months, but what really is the policy, if you can share?
Or the details of it. If somebody could look it up, it's in the prospectus. But we do, generally, it's to pay a dividend, to examine paying a dividend with every 6 months. And I think it went up to a percentage of the profit earned in that period, something like up to 40%.
Right.
Is actually what the policy says. We wouldn't have in the past, given what we were doing. And also, we can't forget in financial year 2024-5 that we were severely challenged with the cash flow challenges. I really believe that we are all committed to returning to that. So really, we just need to ensure that whatever we plan for 33 LMR, we have a plan for it, and that we can balance that with the patience of our shareholders and return to paying a dividend.
Thank you. If you can turn to page 53, I actually had a slightly different take on your trade receivables. Table 2, year-over-year aging of trade receivables, and it looks like losing, so to speak, the Ministry of Health was a good thing for you, if I can put it in a few words.
Well, you know what happens? I think it's a kind of source of referrals that could make you get complacent. And so I think losing it is a reminder of you have to grow no matter what. And I think also that losing it improved our, as you're seeing, our receivables. And so the people didn't disappear, they just started to pay for themselves. And the board is now minded to ensure that as we regain referrals from that source, that we have a limit to the percentage of our referrals that will come from that source.
So it meant you did a good job if the people kept coming back and paying out of their own pockets.
We replaced all of those patients with people coming and paying for themselves.
My next question is for some clarity. In your first quarter ending May 31st, your assets, I see 3 months ended May 31st, 2025, about 1.1 billion. But it reduced, this is for property, plant, and equipment, it reduced to a little over 800 million. But I thought you were acquiring, so I'm not sure if you could clarify.
All right, who's going to help me with that one now? Marcy or Jackie? Miss Chief Accountant? Yes, this is it.
Tisha, pull it up on Jamstack Excel.
First quarter, May 31st. Oops, I just lost my page. Assets, property, plant, and equipment, non-current assets, your 3 months ending May 31st, 2025 is a lot higher than May 31st, 2026.
Okay, so can you recall that we actually reclassified the assets that we bought at 33 LMR to contract assets? So that is where we had the differential. The decline in PPE to
Okay.
808 from 1.1.
Right.
The contract assets was the difference.
And if you could clarify, intangible assets appear in 2026, but not 2025.
Right. The acquisition of the assets of TWP and IR, we had to do a fair valuation of the assets of both entities, and the fair valuation, coming out of that fair valuation, we'd have intangible assets that would have been created. That is our branding, goodwill, and customer relationships.
So will we be seeing that going forward, or it's a one-off?
That will be going forward because it's a long-term asset, which we would look at every year. And if it's to be impaired, we will do so in the financials.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
I think that concludes it for me.
I mean, for now.
No, I think.
All right, thank you for those questions. All right, let me take another one online. It's from Janelle Steer. Good morning. Can you reconsider routing all calls to a central point? I tried making an appointment for someone and the wait time was ridiculous. Can you make it so that callers are able to contact specific offices in a more timely manner? Thank you, Janelle.
Thank you, shareholder. So we are actually tracking the performance of our call center through the calls that come in, the amount of calls that are dropped, the time to respond. But I do recognize that in making appointments, there are multiple channels people use, because people also use our WhatsApp numbers, and some people actually go online and make the appointment or request the appointment through the website. So I'm not quite sure which one the shareholder was talking on, but the feedback would say to me there is something to be solved. So we'll look at it for going forward.
All right, thank you.
Morning. Morning, I'm Douglas Wilson, shareholder. Just a request for a reminder, when do you expect the project on Lady Musgrave to be completed?
We anticipate the
operational, I should say.
Right. We anticipate the completion for December of this year. That is what we have in mind, and that's the conversation that we are having had with the joint venture partner. We do have a project monitor for the construction, and what the board is focused on in this quarter is looking on the timelines provided to the project monitor by the contractor, and also our plan as it relates to moving in and occupying the building. So if there's any change to the December timeline, we will share with our shareholders, but we're targeting by December 31st.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Let me just take a quick question online, because I think this one is pretty easy. It's from Maureen Rose. Her question was, how many times in a year a shareholder get a payout? Maybe I got one a long time ago, and I think we answered that question
She got
comprehensively.
one last year,
so.
December. She got one December 2025.
Yes,
right.
yes. All right. Okay, great. So I have another one from Aline Wilson online. There seems to be a heavy reliance on overdraft. Are we having a cash flow challenge, and what is the applied interest on these drawdowns?
Overdraft?
Yeah, there seems to be a heavy reliance on overdraft.
I'm thinking that he's basing that question based on the Q1 numbers. And in the Q1 numbers, there was a overdraft, or we use our overdraft limit because we had actually borrowed, it was a debt financing for the acquisition of Island Radiology. We wanted to conclude the transaction because in a holding pattern wasn't good for either Island Radiology or Apex Radiology. So we wanted to make an initial payment to them in May and the balance in June. So the overdraft was employed just for the period between May and June when the bank loan was dispersed. So the overdraft has since been paid off in full. and a loan replaces for the purchase of the entity. So the overdraft was only for that. Before that, we were actually running a surplus of cash, as you would have seen in the Q3 numbers.
Yes, thank you. All right, any other questions from?
Robert March.
Hi, Robert, go ahead.
See that you're going to be at Lady Musgrave Road. You will be consolidating and moving some of your other businesses to Lady Musgrave Road. You have the one on Winchester, but that's your place. That belongs to you guys. So that's lease.
We're
renting or leasing. And same thing with the 129 Pro.
No, we own 129
You own
Pro,
29,
but we lease 3A Winchester.
Oh, so you own Old Hope Road and you own, well, you're in partnership with.
So we will own where
Ripton.
we occupy on Lady Musgrave.
Right.
And we own where we occupy at Mullines
Yeah,
Road.
but the top floors belong to Ripton.
Yes.
So no Starbucks can go up on the top floors. Only
No.
medical offices.
No,
Okay.
or offices that don't have high foot traffic, no retail.
Right. Only medical offices and so can
And
go
that
up there.
type of thing. Like I think there are lawyers' office
And
that can.
pharmacies probably and all that, right? All right. So how are the machines running? Because I know you had breakdowns with CTs and some of your competitors have breakdowns with MRIs. Used machines, that is. So most of the machines they have are new machines that bring most of the revenue. And the older machines, you have little problems with them, have to fix them.
So the life of the machine is not, it's really more whether the machine is refurbished properly and whether it is maintained properly. And as I said earlier, whether you do the soft grade upgrades and the preventative maintenance in a timely way. We are one of the few entities that have on full-time staff a biomedical team that actually does maintenance of our machines. And so what we would have suffered from in the past would not be across the board wide scale machine downtime, but we do have a challenge with whenever our CT tubes need to be replaced. But what we recognize is that where we can achieve redundancy, which in moving to 33 LMR would be a great opportunity for redundancy of CT in Kingston. We now have it in Ocherios, and so where you can for your high revenue modalities, redundancy is a good thing, but the key really is to ensure that your preventative maintenance schedule is active and that you are doing all that you must do and do the soft grade upgrades at the time that you must do them.
So basically your MRIs are okay. Your CTs seem to be having a problem.
The CT tube, so it's
Tubes.
one piece of it, yes.
Right.
So we get a little bit at understanding it. We can't say we've perfected it, but we're understanding it. Our MRI in Ocherios is pretty much new. The one in we just acquired at Island Radiology would not be a new unit, but it's a maintained unit.
Okay, very good. Okay.
All right, thank you for those questions. Any other question? Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Dina Davis, shareholder. I'm just wondering if you shouldn't be thinking of more consolidation. For example, Ocherios. You now have 2 branches in Ocherios. I do not think that Ocherios is such a large community that you really need 2 branches. And worse, none in Portmore. The other thing is Kingston. I am not sure how many branches you will have come next year this time. Is it Mullines Road and Lady Musgrave Road, or what is it exactly? And lastly, I've heard it all several times, your cash flow position. You are a billion-dollar company. Your cash flow is very, very important. I look at what exists this morning before I came, and I didn't like what I saw. So I'm saying that you need to kind of take a look at your cash flow. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So as it relates to the footprint, what I would say is, I hear your point strongly about Ocherios, and to be honest, when we were doing the due diligence, we had to look as a board and determine whether or not acquiring another entity in the same parish would be a proactive strategy or defensive strategy. And what I can say is that there is actually enough demand because Ocherios tends to feed persons coming from St. Mary and persons coming from as far as Falmouth. And we are actually seeing that we have a solid book of business for both branches across the ultrasound, X-ray, and CT modalities. So there is enough demand there. We will always though proactively assess and then determine if there's need to focus any one branch on something else. As it relates to Kingston, the intention is to move the majority of our operations from Winchester Road to Lady Musgrave Road. I think the board will have to make a decision weighing some factors if we have any presence at all maintained at Winchester, and we'll be sure to tell our shareholders and say why we make whatever decision we make. But we will still have in Kingston Mullines Road, which feeds a completely different demographic. So what we find, Mullines Road is very close to the bus park. It's very accessible for a lot of Jamaicans who take public transport. And the Mullines Road branch is consistently since last year surpassing all the expectations we have of them and not taking away patients from the Winchester location. The 129 Pro location is focused on nuclear medicine modalities, so it's almost like a specialty location, and we're going to consolidate Stanton Terrace into Lady Musgrave, so we won't have mammograms, bone densitometry, and ultrasounds at the woman's place once Lady Musgrave is open. So it's an active review of the footprint and looking at our branch profitability to ensure that each branch makes sense on its own and we're not watering down and competing against ourselves by having multiple locations. As it relates to our cash flow position, why you wouldn't have been happy when you looked this morning is because you would have seen the impact of the overdraft. So we'd have extended our overdraft short term, but that has now been returned to normal position, meaning that not in overdraft, as we actually did the loan disbursement. But our audit committee and board is very active in looking at our cash flow and ensuring that we don't return to a situation where we have any cash flow challenges.
Yes, you have another one? Go ahead.
Just to follow up on the consolidation and new locations. St. Anne, you have 2 branches in St. Anne.
Yes.
And of course, your competitor has another one very close to you. But there's nothing in Discovery Bay, Brownstone, Runaway Bay. I mean, if you're looking at St. Anne, then you probably should be looking closer down that side rather than all 3 major imaging companies almost in the same place. That's my take on it.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now we have 129 Pro, 33 Lady Musgrave, Stanton Terrace, and Mullines Road, right? And Winchester. That's 5. We'll lose Stanton Terrace, so that will carry us down to 4. 129 Pro is a specialty, so you can't really count that in it. And then we'll have Mullines, Winchester will move to Lady Musgrave, and we'll determine whether I need any presence at all at Winchester. Winchester, where it is now, has a lot of OB-GYNs, etc. So ultrasounds there may make sense for the doctors, because then the patients just come right across. But we'll make sure that we're not cannibalizing ourselves. We own 129 Pro, not the whole property, no, where we are, our 3 shops. And we own Mullines Road, again, 3 shops. Mm-hmm. No, we don't own Stanton Terrace, and we did deliberately, for that same reason that the shareholder raised a concern. When we were purchasing, we didn't purchase that asset because we know we didn't want another location when we were going to 33 Lady Musgrave. We would consolidate it there. I think Director Duncan wants to add something.
Yeah, I was just going to add on the site selection piece. As Keisha said, there's a lot of work that goes into determining what sites, how many sites. If you think of the banks who recently closed locations, having expanded, we're on a very asset-rich business. So we have to be very strategic and selective in how we look at sites, which the management has been very clinical in how they do that. So, the continued assessment of profitability and footprint is something that the board is fanatically focused on to make sure that we do get the most value out of each site. The other piece I wanted to speak to was the cash flow situation, because when I hear the discussion, I'm reminded when you buy your first place, right? You have a cash flow crunch. When you buy your second place, if you're so fortunate, you have a cash flow crunch. But long term, you realize tremendous value. I think the board, again, is fanatical focus on not just giving you income now, but about creating generational wealth through stock price appreciation. So a lot of the investments you see happening, unfortunately, are somewhat intensive. We have to make decisions how we deploy capital. And that deployment right now has put us in a position to springboard and create an amazing future. I think that's what we're all excited about as a board. It won't be a pretty journey all the time, right? But I think the steps that you're seeing in terms of the acquisitions, the new operating business, and an awareness of how to maximize the value out of those assets, which is where a lot of the focus is now, will all go well. So I think dividends will return in full force at some point. But just as important is, a generational, you being able to will and to pass down generational wealth to a company that's going to create long-term value for you. So I just want to add those comments.
All right, thank you for that, Claude.
Let me just correct one thing. One of our partners, Learn, Grow, Invest, corrected me on the dividend policies up to 55%. They went back to the prospectus for us.
Right. But I think, again, just on the dividend policy, I just want to add something to that. So as you remember, for a company, so even though we have a stated dividend policy, it's always going to be subject to the needs of the business, right? And the available cash flow and so on. So even though we might say up to 55%, if we need to do something, as Claude mentioned, that creates long-term value, then the board is going to make that assessment as to, do we pay out all of the cash in dividends today, or do we invest some of that cash to generate long-term shareholder value? But the intention is, at any rate, to pay a dividend to ensure that you're getting something back. All right?
Morning. Damien Austin, shareholder. I'm on page 128 of the annual report. Under other expense, it says provision for bad debts dash related party loan. Could you explain that related party loan for me, no?
What page, sorry?
Page 128 under other expenses. Expense.
128. Oh, yeah. I just was looking for it. Okay. Okay, thank you. Related party loan. So in 18 or 19, a loan was made to Winchester MRI, and they have had their challenges over the last few years. And because we recognize that they have not repaid the loan per the terms they had agreed, in discussion with our external auditors, a provision was made, because we also recognize at the time we're doing the financials that they were not operational, meaning that their machines were not up and active. And so a provision was made in keeping with best practice. So that's related to Winchester MRI, in which the company has a stake.
Thank you for that explanation. I'm on page 129. 19, employee benefits. Other, you have salaries and wages, you have statutory and other contribution. I'm interested in other 29,302,000. Could you tell me what is this other involves?
That involves health insurance, any staff welfare activities, just everything that would be related to our staff outside of the pay that they get, their salary.
Would that also include pension?
No, we don't actually at the point, and I think that's the only benefit we don't have. We encourage them, so we would have had sessions with external providers that have come in and encourage them to be a part of the retirement scheme. But at this point in time, the company does not make a contribution towards their pension.
Okay, thank you. My last question. On the same 128 page on the administrative expenses, electricity, so you have 19,408 mash. My question is, the company don't invest in solar to reduce your electricity bill?
Not at this time. So I would answer, well, we have one director, Director Bradshaw, who is online, who is very passionate about ensuring that we have some solution, even going into 33 LMR. At this time, we don't. We could look at solar for our office ACs, lights, that kind of thing, but for the biomedical machines, we need a 3-phase supply that wouldn't function on the solar, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't try and employ solar for the other electrical costs.
Thank you, CEO, for your fulsome answer my question.
Thank you.
All right.
Another one.
Sorry, let me just
What are they?
let me just take one online, because I think we're running out of time. So I'll take the one online, I'll take yours, and I think that's going to be it for the Q&A session. And this is from Michael Mullins. What is the total cost of the IR acquisition? Total cost of the IR acquisition.
Am I to disclose?
You're the CEO. You can. It's going to come
okay.
out eventually.
I guess, okay, so it's in there, but we hadn't just yet said the price full out. So I will just say it. I just wanted to ensure that I had alignment across the board members, not acting on my own. So the total cost of the acquisition is 550 million Jamaican dollars.
Thank you.
Another one. What are the main reasons the company earnings have not grown faster?
In the last financial year, we would have had some CT downtime. The country as a whole would have been impacted by Hurricane Melissa, and that would have cut off a significant amount of people could afford their own services. We would have seen anecdotally, for example, when we opened Otrius after 2 days, that it wasn't until about 4 or 5 weeks later that we returned to full volumes that we are accustomed to at that location. And very importantly, I would have shared in the presentation that we would have seen a reduction from Ministry of Health referrals. And so we had to convert those private patients to choose us on their own. And so the fact that we delivered the revenue that had grown by 1% over the prior year, I think is testament, as the shareholder had said earlier, to the fact that we replaced all the MOH revenue. And so we did well in maintaining and growing by the 1%. What we intend to do with the acquisitions and just to grow so far as we see in Q1 is actually to grow, continue to grow at the pace that we're growing before, going back to like 2023, the rate of growth.
Yeah. All right.
Is that corrective measures you're implementing?
Yes, focused measures on growth and opportunities for growth, and also just ensuring that the brand continues to be built and is the clear choice for diagnostic imaging services.
Let's see.
All right. Well, thank you all shareholders for participating and for those wonderful questions, and enjoy the rest of the AGM.
Stay right here. We have more work for you. All right. So thank you, Director Townsend. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank everybody for participating in this morning's discussion. Your questions, your comments, your perspectives are important to us, and they contribute meaningfully to the continued growth, governance, and success of the company. Now, with the absence of our chairman, we're going to ask our company secretary, Mr. Carl Townsend, to lead us as we proceed to vote on the 6 ordinary resolutions set out in the notice convening this meeting, which can be found in the annual report on page 3 and 4.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mack. I will now read each resolution and ask a shareholder who is physically present to move that resolution to be put to the meeting, and another shareholder who is either physically or virtually present to second the motion. And the tally of the votes will be displayed on the screen. So resolution 1, to receive the reports of the directors and auditors and the audited accounts for the 12 months ended February 28, 2026. That the audited accounts and the reports of the directors and auditors for the year ending February 28, 2026, circulated with the notice convening the meeting be and are hereby adopted. May I have a shareholder in the room to raise a motion? Thank you. And may I have a shareholder to second? Howard Fung to second. All right. So we're going to ask the shareholders in the room to vote by raising your hand. Those in favor? Did we get the count? We have the count? Yes. Thank you. And those against? Those against? All right, we have no one against. Shareholders online, please click Vote Now button at the bottom of the screen and select the for or against options and select Submit Vote at the right of the screen. Great. So we have 32 for and none against. I declare the resolution carried. Resolution number 2, to ratify interim dividend payments and declare them final. That the interim dividends of 2 Jamaican cents per ordinary stock unit paid on December 23, 2025 be and are hereby ratified and declared as final, and that no further dividend be paid in respect of the year under review. May I have a shareholder in the room to raise a motion? Name, please. Gilbert Sharp. And someone to second? Oh, Jacqueline Leckie, second. Again, those in the room, please vote by raising your hand. Those in favor? Please let me know when we have the count. Do we have the count? Yes? Thank you. Those against? One person against. It has been against for the sake of being against. All right, shareholders online, please click the vote now at the bottom of the screen, select the for or against options, and select submit vote at the right of the screen. All right, so we have 31 for and 3 against. I declare the resolution carried. Resolution number 3, to reappoint directors retiring by rotation pursuant to Article 105. And I think we'll take these in turn. That Director Carleen McDonough, who retires by rotation and is eligible for re-election B and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. Right. So may I have a shareholder in the room to raise the motion, please? Thank you. And someone to second. Thank you. And again, those in favor, please vote. Well, let's vote by raising your hand. Those in favor, let me know when you have the count, please. Yes? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. Shareholders online, again, vote. Click vote now at the bottom of the screen. Select the for or against option and select submit vote at the right of the screen. All right, so we have 35 for and none against. So I declare that Director Carleen McDonough has been duly reappointed. We're still on resolution 3, that Director Lilith Ann Bridgewater, who retires by rotation and is eligible for re-election B and is hereby re-elected a director of the company. May I have a shareholder in the room to raise a motion? Thank you. And a seconder? Thank you. Please vote by raising your hand. Those in favor? All right, thank you. Those against? Thank you. Shareholders online, click vote now at the bottom of the screen, select the for or against options and select submit vote at the right of the screen. Great. So we have 44 for, 1 against. I declare that Director Lilith Ann Bridgewater has been duly re-elected Director of the company. And the last on the resolution, that Director Gordon Bradshaw, who retires by rotation and is eligible for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected a Director of the company. May I have someone in the room to raise a motion? Thank you. And the seconder? Mr. Fung. Thank you. Please vote by raising your hand. Those in favor? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. Shareholders online, you know the drill. Click vote now at the bottom of the screen. Select the for or against options and select submit vote at the right of the screen. Thank you. So we have 37 for, none against. I declare that Dr. Gordon Bradshaw has been duly re-elected a director of the company. Resolution 4. In accordance with Article 103 of the Articles of Incorporation, Directors Radcliffe Daly and Claude Duncan, having been appointed during the year, retire and are eligible for re-election. That director, Mr. Radcliffe Daly, be and is hereby elected a director of the company. Can I have someone to move the motion, please? Mr. Fung, and the seconder? Mr. Douglas Wilson, thank you. And again, please vote by raising your hands. Those in favor? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. Shareholders online, click vote now at the bottom of the screen, select the for or against options, and select submit vote at the right of the screen. All right, we have 44, none against. I declare that Mr. Radcliffe Daly has been elected a director of the company. Also on resolution 4, that director, Mr. Claude Duncan, be and is hereby elected a director of the company. Can we have a shareholder to move that motion, please? Catherine Powell, thank you. And someone to second? Carol Leslie, thank you very much. Please vote by raising your hand. Those in favor? All right, thank you. Those against? Thank you. Shareholders online, click vote now at the bottom of the screen. Select the for or against options and select submit vote at the right of the screen. We have 38 for, none against. I hereby declare that Mr. Claude Duncan has been elected a director of the company. I know those 5 directors can breathe easy. They were all very nervous before. They weren't sure what was going to happen. So. All right, resolution 5. To appoint auditors and authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors, that HLB Mayor Russell, Chartered Accountants, having agreed to continue in office as auditors, be and are hereby reappointed auditors of the company to hold office until the next annual general meeting at a remuneration to be fixed by the directors of the company. May I have a shareholder to move the motion, please? Thank you, Mr. Bloomfield. And a seconder? Mr. Wainwright, thank you. Let's now vote by raising our hands. Those in favor? Thank you. Those against? Thank you. Shareholders online, click vote now at the bottom of the screen. Select the for or against options and select submit vote at the right of the screen. All right, we have 36 for, none against. I declare that resolution carried. Mr. Sixtacar, you can also take a deep breath and be easy, okay? All right, resolution 6, to approve the director's remuneration, that the amount included in the audited accounts of the company for the year ended February 28, 2026, as remuneration for their services as directors be and is hereby approved. May I have a shareholder to move that motion, please? Mr. Sharp, thank you. And a seconder? Mrs. Leslie, thank you. Let's vote by raising our hands. Those in favor? Come now, you don't want to pay the directors. All right, that looks better. All right, thank you. Those against? Thank you. Shareholders online, click vote now at the bottom of the screen, select the for or against options, and select submit vote at the right of the screen. Thirty-five for, none against. I declare the resolution carried. Back over to you, Madam Chair.
Well, as you can see, our company secretary is quite the comedian, but we are now happy to say that that part of the business is over. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude the 2026 Annual General Meeting of IPCL, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to everyone who has participated today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention, your thoughtful contributions, and your continued engagement with the affairs of the company. To my fellow board members, our Chief Executive Officer, and our management, marketing, and accounting teams, thank you for your unwavering commitment, sound leadership, and dedication to the continued success of IPCL. Your expertise, strategic thinking, and tireless efforts have enabled the company to navigate another challenging year while remaining focused on delivery of long-term value. To our exceptional team members across the organization, including our reporting radiologists, our radiographers, sonographers, customer service representatives, supervisors, and IT teams, as well as our ancillary staff, thank you for the professionalism, compassion, and excellence you demonstrate every single day. Your commitment to delivering outstanding care to our patients and exceptional service to our referring physicians is the foundation of IPCL's reputation and the reason we continue to lead the way we do in diagnostic imaging services in Jamaica. To our shareholders, thank you for your continued confidence, trust, and your support. We remain committed to creating sustainable value for your investment while staying true to our mission, our values, and our commitment to excellence. I also wish to acknowledge and thank our many stakeholders, business partners, and collaborators whose continued support has contributed to company's achievements throughout the past year. Finally, I extend special thanks to our marketing team and to our valued partners at Affinity, M Squared, Amazing Events, Learn, Grow, Invest, So Simple Media, and the Terra Hotel for their professionalism and dedication in delivering another successful annual general meeting. Before you leave, I invite everyone to remain for refreshments and take the opportunity to network with fellow shareholders and guests, and of course, the members of the board and our team members, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you once again for your attendance and participation. I wish you all a safe journey home and a wonderful rest of the day. Good evening.
At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word. It's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs. At Apex Radiology, service is more than a word, it's our promise. Our dedicated staff is here to make the process as hassle-free as possible. From booking your appointments, to doing your procedures, to delivering fast results, we go above and beyond. It's not just about the scans, it's about people. Apex Radiology, the clear choice for all your diagnostic needs.